Then guys, it's been a day where you asked me so many questions on another situation, and it's the situation of Bruno Fernandes and Galatasaray. What I can tell you guys is that according to my information, Galatasaray called for Bruno Fernandes, but earlier in the transfer window, rather than now. Galatasaray tried around June, July, during the World Cup, when Bruno was busy at the World Cup with Galatasaray. Was busy at the World Cup with Portugal, but Galatasaray tried to understand if there was the condition to bring Bruno Galatasaray, but the understanding is that Manchester United have no intention at all to open any negotiation. Manchester United want to continue with Bruno. Manchester United want Bruno to stay at the club. So my understanding is that now Bruno Fernandes to Galatasaray is not happening. So the understanding is that Bruno is gonna stay at Manchester United and be a big part of the project for this season. And let's see what's gonna happen also in terms of contract, because there might be also conversations about Bruno's contract. From Turkey today, also links between Marcus Rashford and Turkish clubs. Guys, I'm told again today that for Turkish clubs, the door of Marcus Rashford is closed. Rashford doesn't want to go to Turkey or Saudi at this stage of his career. Rashford is saying Manchester United or a top club from European elite leagues. This is the position. So a Rashford exit to Turkey is seen as very complicated now. Then, should anything change, I will let you know here, as always, as every single day on the channel.
A return for Marcus Rashford in a United shirt. So look, Daniel, did Saturday's defeat show, I guess, why United need to strengthen?
Look, you don't want to over-exaggerate or react too strongly after, what still is a pre-season game. But I think, to answer your question, Haley, it probably reinforced what a lot of the fan base and I think what a lot of us, when you're looking at this Manchester United squad, believe. And they absolutely, and I say this probably every show I'm on, they need a left-back. Yeah. And, we've talked about that since March. When you look at the goals conceded, again, you don't want, you're aware players' fitness levels aren't quite there yet, but all 4 goals, there was a significant part of each goal that came from Manchester United's left-hand side. That is not to blame Luke Shaw for each of those goals or anything like that. At some points, you thought Patrick Dorgu was maybe too far away from his full-back. Marcus Rashford did come on, we'll talk about him in a minute, was maybe not helping his left-back enough as well. And some of those goals they conceded were slightly worrying. I know it's pre-season, but the way Manchester United have been playing in pre-season is quite clear. Michael Carrick wants this team to be higher up, recover the ball much quicker, and really counter-press a lot further up the pitch. Now, they were caught out for the 4th goal. Harry Maguire, Luke Shaw caught basically at the halfway line. You accept that as just a mistake, and they'll learn from that. But I think we were talking about this before, Steve, and I think what worries you about the back 4 we saw, which will likely start the opener against Hull City, is there enough pace there? If you're going to play that high, do you have a defender? Aiden Heaven is very quick. Diogo Dalot is decent as well. But do you have enough recovery pace to get in behind when you do get caught out? That is why they've been looking at a left-back, and they undoubtedly need one.
Who, though?
Yeah, I think obviously Hall has been the one that's been, I think it looks like the highest on their list for who they want. We were talking about that off air as well, saying he seems to be the one that they that's the top one. But who else can come into it? We talked about Robinson from Fulham. I think he's a wonderful defender. He's had a few injuries last season or so, but about a year ago he was one of the hottest prospects in the Premier League when it comes to fullbacks. And attacking wise, great pace, wonderful energy levels. He can run all day as well, so he'd be definitely an improvement. And is that left hand side? And I think being a fullback myself, I think that the link between a fullback and a winger, I know because they seem to just link the front 3 as a that play together, but the link between a fullback and a winger is so important. How they get on, how they communicate, they have a camaraderie, and then they have like an understanding with each other. And I think that you look at since Trent and Salah have left Liverpool, that side is just gone, but their understanding of how they play together, how they pass the ball to each other was so in sync. And I think when you can get that on a wing or on a side, it can be huge. And for United, if they can fill that void on the left hand side and get players that can play regularly together and continuously build up that partnership, it could be huge for them.
Look, 3 names that have been on their list throughout the summer and even before that: Arsenal's Milo Skelly, Newcastle's Lewis Hall, who we know they're huge admirers of, and as Stephen mentioned, Fulham's Anthony Robinson. 3 very different options there. And I think Manchester United right now are really seeing how each one of those individual situations may develop over the next few weeks. I also think we have to talk about midfield, because I think, you know, Manuel Ugarte being injured for the foreseeable future and also the loss of Casemiro in the summer, you are also thinking, what is the best combination?
Manchester United are entering a fascinating new chapter, and in my opinion, Marcus Rashford could become one of the biggest stories of the season. After his loan spells with Aston Villa and Barcelona, Rashford is back at Old Trafford, and Michael Carrick appears ready to give him another opportunity. He has already returned to action in pre-season, and Harry Maguire has publicly backed him to stay. But Rashford's return is not as simple as just putting him back into the starting 11. The relationship between the player and the club has changed, and he now has to prove that he can consistently perform at the level United expect. The good news for him is that he is returning with confidence and experience from Barcelona. If Carrick can get the best out of him, Rashford could suddenly become one of United's most important attacking weapons again. In my opinion, United would be foolish to completely write him off. Then there is Bruno Fernandes. This is where things get really interesting. Galatasaray are reportedly interested in the Manchester United captain, with reports of a potential offer around €50 million, but United have made their position very clear: Fernandes is not for sale. His previous overseas release clause has expired, and he remains under contract with an option for another year. Personally, I think keeping Bruno is absolutely the right decision. He was one of United's most influential players last season and reportedly set a Premier League record for assists while helping the club return to the Champions League. Losing your captain and creative leader at this stage would create another huge rebuild for Carrick. And the Galatasaray saga is something I would keep watching because transfer windows can change very quickly. Galatasaray reportedly want Fernandes badly enough to offer him a massive salary increase, but United currently have no intention of negotiating. For me, the bigger question is what happens with Bruno's contract beyond this season. If United want to build a serious team around him, they need to make his future crystal clear. So, looking at the bigger picture, I actually think Manchester United have a fascinating opportunity. Keep Bruno as the leader, give Rashford a genuine chance to rebuild his reputation, and let Carrick continue developing the squad. If Rashford finds his best form and Fernandes remains at the heart of the team, United could be much stronger than people expect. But if either situation collapses, the pressure on Carrick and the club will rise very quickly.